What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a special sit down here on PW Ponderings. I'm your host and moderator, James Lascuola, and we are inching closer to that August 5th date for the Scenic City Invitational, one of the prestigious tournaments of the independent wrestling circuit. And I have the pleasure of sitting down today with two people that will face off in possibly the most heated contest of this first round. Let me introduce to you Space Jesus, Billie Starkz, and the Poisoned Youth, Robert Martyr.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, I want to start off on a personal aside saying that, of course, I've been following both of your paths in wrestling for some time now, and I'm a fan of both of your work. I've gotten to talk to both of you on a couple occasions, but also I am going to maintain a neutral field here as moderator. I won't be playing any favorites, and all I ask is for a little decorum, just letting each other speak. So, and you'll have your turn to respond to each other, okay?
Cool.
All right.
Now, to kind of lay out the ground here, I mean, because this goes back further than just the Scenic City Rumble. This goes back to the Futures tournament back during Scenic City weekend last year. I mean, you two faced off in the finals with Robert Martyr coming out on top as the winner of Futures 2021. Fast forward all the way to the Scenic City Rumble. Billie, you come out on top, last eliminating Robert Martyr. And now we are here at Scenic City Invitational 2022, where we finally get to see you two square off in not just a first round match, but a first time singles contest.
Yes, I'm very excited about it. But to state one fact, Robert didn't pin me in the Futures tournament, so I don't consider that him beating me. He beat someone else and won the match. He never beat me in a matchup.
I mean, does it say Robert Martyr did not win? It's irrelevant if I pinned you or not, because the fact is you haven't pinned me either. So bringing up that point makes no sense. I won. I stole your.
I eliminated you.
Okay, awesome. You eliminated me, and you ruined probably my only chance of making history in SCI. So we're even. I took something that you supposedly had this dream run that I know Matt sure didn't. He wanted it way more than he wanted me to win, because nobody in SCI wants me to win. It's kind of apropos, because every time I've either promoted the show, I've never been on the damn poster. You have always been on the damn poster. Every single time I've won the tournament, still didn't get promoted. I beat Kyle Matthews and then went to the SCI Rumble, still didn't get promoted after that. But for some reason, you win or lose, whether you win, whether you sell merch, whether you do anything, you're the one promoted. So I know this is like an industry plant thing. It has to be. It definitely has to be, because I've worked too hard. I've worked too hard not to be acknowledged. And I know Scott, and I know Matt, and I know Dylan all want you to
Now,
because of the publicity, because of the herstory, because of whatever you want to call it. Go ahead.
I mean, we'll start. I'll start with you, Robert, because I had question one for you. I mean, going back to Futures 2021, I have to point out the fact that you were the only person in the tournament who had to win a qualifier to get in. I mean, going into that tournament, did you hold any animosity over someone like Billie Starkz, who was just announced for the tournament?
I didn't have any animosity towards Billie at all. I thought Billie earned her way to the tournament, regardless of having to qualify. I was the only person who had to qualify, like you mentioned. I was more mad at the fact that I felt that I already proved myself, and I already deserved to be in the tournament regardless. So I don't know why I was the only one that had to fight to be in the tournament. But it wasn't until after the tournament is where my gripe with Billie Starkz happened. Because even after my win, even after the moment of recognition and the moment of respect that I was supposed to have, Billie was always put in a higher position than me. And that made me bitter. And I have every reason to be bitter about that, because clearly in wrestling, wins don't matter. Nothing matters. It only matters how much people like you. It only matters how much people respond to you. Not when you win, not when you do good, not when you're better than the other person, just if people like you. And that's why I'm bitter, because Billie is the exact representation of that.
Well, man, that was quite a bit there. I mean, Billie, do you have any response to Robert's words here?
Honestly, I think Robert's bitter because he's not getting the same love and treatment I am. And I honestly have worked so hard in wrestling, and I have people who back me up because they see the work I've put in wrestling and the love I have for wrestling. Not saying Robert doesn't have that, but he is so angry and he's always very controlling of his matchups that it takes the fun out of it for people because he's taking it so seriously. There's not a moment to enjoy wrestling.
Alrighty, and Billie, I'm going to stick with you here. I mean, you brought up the fact that, Robert Martyr didn't pin you to win Futures last year, but has this been on your mind ever since that loss in the finals?
This has been on my mind because I need to show that I've grown since then, and then I can also beat Robert Martyr. I wanted a singles match with Robert to prove that I've grown since Futures, and I'm better than what I was at Futures.
Robert, your response to this? I mean, I agree. I think Billie's grown tremendously. I think Billie, people think Billie, I don't hate you. I just hate what you represent. I just hate what you have become to other people. That's what I hate. I don't hate Billie Starkz. I hate what Billie Starkz represents. And the thing is, you have grown, and you level, I respect that. But I feel like you've been handed so many opportunities because of that love and because you're so young. I didn't get into that when I was younger. Nobody looked at a 15-year-old Robert Martyr and said, man, let me give this kid a chance. You know what they did? They stomped on me like a bug. What they did was, this kid doesn't deserve a damn thing. This kid doesn't belong here. That's all they told me when I was younger, when I was your age. And now I made it my way. I still got to the point where I am by myself. Nobody helped me. But Billie, everyone helped you. Everyone was rooting for you at the age where everyone was telling me that I didn't even deserve to be here. That's what I'm angry about. And that's why I'm always going to, good or bad.
Well, Robert, I'm going to stick with you here now as, pointing out the SCI Rumble, you did have another match that night against Kyle Matthews before even stepping foot in the Scenic City Rumble. And even with that, you made it really, really far in. But do you feel like Billie got off lucky with you having to have wrestled twice in the same night?
I'm going to surprise you with that answer. I don't think so, because I watched the match. I'm not a nihilist, man. I'm not going to completely ignore the facts. Billie stayed in from very, very early in the Rumble. So, they didn't get off easy. She didn't get off easy. But the fact is that, yes, I did wrestle a whole match. I did have to elbow Kyle Matthews and hammer fist Kyle Matthews to the ground to make sure that he didn't get up again. But I think what she did have the advantage is, what she did have the advantage was, I want to say, is it was probably that moment where we looked at each other and she told me I didn't have to be like this. And it played to the fact that after I won the SCI Rumble, Billie cried, and I tried to hold it in. I tried to look tough, and I cried too, because a part of me died that day. A part of me said that the Robert Martyr that was so sympathetic, the part of me that the mentor that I would want to be to myself, died. Because believe it or not, I have to be a shark. I have to be angry to be good at this point, because nobody's willing to give me a chance. So I have to be bitter. I have to be aggressive. I have to be brutal, or else I won't have a fair shake. So yeah, I think she used that to an advantage and made me think about other things other than the match, and she won. So
Billie, your response to Robert.
I was just being honest with Robert. I don't think he has to be this shark that he's made up into his head. And I just want to make wrestling fun again for him, but I also have to prove a point to him and myself that this is what I deserve and this is what I've worked for. Because he took my original dream away, and I'm not going to just let that slide and act like it's all fun and games. That's why winning the Rumble truly like warmed my heart to the point I cried. But I think we were crying for different reasons.
Well, Billie, staying with you here, I mean, of course, being the Scenic City Rumble winner, you got to choose your first round opponent. And I mean, as we all saw in the video, I mean, when you were going to make your choice, Robert Martyr came up in the middle of your interview, and he really laid into you with some strong words. I mean, even before this interview, was Robert ever an option for that first round opponent?
He definitely was on my mind because we've had so much history together. It feels like it's almost like destined, like we're destined to meet in the ring again. We both started wrestling so young. We both had these dreams, but I was treated one way and he was treated so differently. So he was definitely on my mind when I was making my choice. And just him being there, it definitely made the idea of this being destiny again, is that we're destined to meet in the ring for SCI.
Robert, your response to Billie.
maybe it is destiny, Billie. I don't know, because it seems that every time I pop up in Georgia, you're there. Every time I'm in Tennessee, you're there. Maybe it is destiny. Maybe we have to do this forever, because at this point, I don't know any other option. It's like I interrupted you because I felt something in me that was just like, I need to tell her this. Because in the back of my mind, I thought you were going to let all the glitz and glamour of people like Myron Reed, people like Adam Priest, people of all types of, levels of wrestling. And I thought you were going to forget about me, just like everyone else has. I thought you were going to forget about the history. I thought you were going to forget about you screwing me over and me screwing you over. I thought you were going to forget about all that just for a highlight match. And to me, I don't think there's any people in that tournament that can wrestle harder than me. I don't think there's anybody in that tournament that's got more heart than me, and I can truly say that. But despite of recently, I haven't had the most buzz. I haven't had the most, likes on Twitter, whatever the case may be. But Billie, I know something in you bothers you. It bothers you that I've been on your mind this whole time, and I think that you made the right choice, because if you beat me, if you do, and that's a very big if, then you'll prove that you've changed. Then you'll prove that you're different. Then you'll prove that you're not the 2017 Billie that just got a fair shake, that you're a professional wrestler. What you've been trying to prove this whole time, not a female professional wrestler, not a women's wrestler, a professional wrestler. And if you beat me, you do that. But you're not. And that's all I got to say. You're not going to do it, because the fact is when I win, I'm going to prove to everyone, finally, in the place where I got my fair chance, my only chance, I'm going to prove that I am the best wrestler in the world, that I am a guy that can do this, that doesn't have to be shot down at every point, even though I've proven time and time again how good I am.
And now, I want to pose a question, to each of you here. I mean, starting with you, Robert, staying on you. Do you feel like you have Billie scouted for this match?
I don't think I need to have Billie scouted. I think the fact is that I'm all Billie should be worried about. Billie shouldn't be worried about whatever booking she has tomorrow. Billie shouldn't be worried about what merch she's going to make at SCI. Billie shouldn't even be worried about who, if she beats me, who's the next round is. Billie should be worried about my match with her. And that's all I need. That right there is all I need, because she finally has something to prove. There's stakes. There's stakes in this match, and it's more than just a title. It's more than just a trophy. It's more than any of that. It's me and her. Because that moment that we shared at the finals of SCI Futures, nobody can say that they've had that moment before. And that's in her mind, because I know what she's going to try to do. Win, lose, or draw, she's going to try to get the old Robert back. She's going to try to get that out of me and have, whatever she says, fun of wrestling back. Wrestling is fun, but it's never been fun when you've been told that you can't do what's fun, when you've been told that you are not allowed to, that you don't have the potential to, and all you've been told is that you do. So August 5th, we're going to figure that out. And I think it's going to be me.
Billie, similarly, do you feel like you have Robert scouted out for this matchup?
Yes, I truly do believe I have Robert figured out for this matchup. I feel like he's still trying to figure himself out and where his mind's at. And I know what I want to do, and I have my game plan set days and weeks out. So I definitely feel very confident going into this matchup. But at the same time, Robert is almost like a Joker card. He always has a trick up his sleeve, something new that you haven't seen in a very, very long time.
And now I want to kind of pose this as our final question, along with your kind of closing statements with each other. But I mean, you know, looking at the Scenic City Invitational, you've had past winners like the current IWTV Independent Wrestling World's Champion, AC Mack, as well as the late, great Jimmy Rave. But starting with you, Billie, I mean, what are you willing to do to get victory in this matchup?
I'm willing to put my heart, body, and soul on the line. I, of course, have Robert Martyr the first round. I don't know who I would have the next, or even in the finals. So, and everybody in this tournament is so great at wrestling and has amazing potential and has already proved themselves as wrestlers. So it's a lot of big competition I'm going against, but I'm going to put my body and heart on the line and hopefully win.
Robert, similarly, with all this in mind, what are you willing to do to get victory in this matchup?
James, I don't know if you saw this past weekend what I did. I couldn't walk last week. I couldn't move. I couldn't even get out of bed. And I still, after 20 minutes, pinned Davey Richards. What I will do? What is my last name, James? It's Martyr. What does that mean? It means that I will die for what I believe in. And what I believe in is professional wrestling. So what the hell do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to run every competitor. I'm going to run through every wrestler. It doesn't matter if you're a female, male, they, them, best wrestler in the world, worst wrestler in the world. I will run through you. And the fact is that I honestly believe that this might be the best SCI has had, because this is the most Southeast centered SCI I think we've had ever. You know, there's more competitors from Georgia, from Florida, from this tournament than past years. And I think that's going to prove something. Because when I win, I get to say that I'm the best in the Southeast. And then I get to graduate to the world. But at first, I need to win that tournament, because I want that validation, James. I want the validation that I felt when I won Futures this weekend. That's what I want.
Well, thank you so much, Robert, and thank you as well, Billy. This is all going down on August 5th at night one of Scenic City Invitational. Catch that and a whole lot more action across the 5th and 6th live on IWTV. But for Billie Starkz and Robert Martyr, this is James Lascuola, and I will see you all on the next one.